Good morning, everybody. It is a tremendous pleasure and honour for me to be with you today, and Dr. Iqbal has graciously allowed me around 15 minutes to talk to you about my experiences in my life and business, which are ongoing, how they affect the themes of today's conference. And the three key themes are innovation and entrepreneurship, which is sub-theme 2, ethical conduct, which is sub-theme 1, subsection 2, and social work in modern society, especially for women and children, which is also sub-theme 1, subsection 7. And there are some definitions. Before we talk about those things, what do they mean? And you have the handout there. Let me just read this first of all. And as I'm talking to you now and giving these definitions, I want you to think about the definitions. What don't they say? And what is the missing definition? So first of all, an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur, someone who exercises initiative by organising a venture to take benefit of an opportunity, and as the decision maker, decides what, how, and how much of a good or service will be produced. Innovation, the process of translating an idea or invention into a good or service that creates value for which customers will pay. Ethics, the basic concepts and fundamental principles of decent human behaviour. And lastly, morality, conformance to a recognised code, doctrine or system of rules on what is right or wrong, and to behave accordingly. Now, when I looked at those definitions, something struck me immediately. What don't they say? We relate entrepreneurs and innovators to people who become main players in the business world in one form or another. The late Steve Jobs and many others that we can think of. And we normally associate those people with wealth, with attaining things that people aspire to have, particularly the Western values of monetarism and so forth. So in those definitions, the one thing that's not mentioned is profit or gain. So can you be an entrepreneur or an innovator without profit or gain? But then again, what is profit or gain? And the definition that isn't there is success. What is success? My experience of India these last 7 years, and I'm not a foreigner that just comes and goes and travels, I live here. I don't even have a pair of socks in the UK. My life is India. I feel this is my country. But India is in great danger as it expands economically of following Western practice. I see Westernization in shopping malls in India and in many places. And it is a process that I think India should turn away from. Because everything, the measure of success will be as it is in the West. I have a 3-bedroom house, so I need a 4-bedroom house. I've got a 2-year-old car, I need a new car. And you can see unhappiness everywhere in the West, I can promise you. But success, in my life in particular, professional footballer, chartered accountant, I'll give you 3 examples of projects involving innovation that I've been involved in. But success to me is being the best I can be in whatever I'm doing. And doing whatever I'm choosing to do because it's the right thing to do. Yes, of course we need money. Yes, of course we want to educate our children and give them opportunity. But material wealth and the ability to do things with wealth is not the only measure of success, and it's the least important measure. For example, in the West, and this will happen in India and lots of other places, you'll see people going to catch the train at 5 o'clock in the morning to say go to London to work. They'll come back on the train at 8 o'clock at night. They won't have seen their children wake up in the morning, and they won't read a bedtime story to them. So if that person earns £20,000 a year more by going to live in London as opposed to Bournemouth from where they travel, is that £20,000 a year worth more than waking your children up, reading a bedtime story? And this is down to us as individuals, but I'd just like to open your mind to what is profit, what is gain, what is success. Don't adopt the Western view that it's gross domestic product. I'm going to come, as one of our guests here will have experience of, the Bhutan model of GNH, Gross National Happiness, that Bhutan created in 1972, measuring the happiness of a nation, not the wealth. So, in the phase of our business life, we'll start off with our education, and then our career path. And as we get onto our career path, probably family will come next. And as I found, when I received the call to India about 7 or 8 years ago, because I nearly married an Indian lady in England, and we were going to devote our life to the poor in India when we got married, she being a nurse, we split up. And something said to me, go on your own. And 3 months later, I came on a plane for the first of 18 visits. I now live here. I didn't know where I was going. Abhi mein Hindi mein bol sakta hu, or Samaj sakta hu. And that's been very important because I spend a lot of my time in the slums and I need to communicate. So how do we go through all this pressurized process of developing our life, creating a home and a future for our family, and yet somehow do the right thing, do the things that we really care about, and make them the measure of our success in our life? Well, I was lucky because when I got this call, my 2 sons were grown up, married, their own property, their own business. So I could just go and listen to the call and do something. And now I can say that I'm doing the thing that I was born to do. This is why God made me, to do this work in India, which we'll talk about later on in the morning. So sometime in your life, you'll get a little opportunity to be yourself. What do I want to do? Can I jump off this merry-go-round of my business and social infrastructure and do what I really care about, or what my wife care about? You'll get the opportunity sometime, as I have. Obstacles. Let me just give you 3 examples of projects involving innovation and entrepreneurialism that I developed that didn't make me wealthy, but they made me in the material sense, but they made me wealthy because I proved that they were the best things of their type. I proved that I could do them and no one else could do them, and that was what I was happy with. We heard about earlier the financial reporting service. When you buy a business or a bank is asked to lend money on a business, the business might be 1,000 miles away. How does the bank know what that business is, or the purchaser? You'll get a set of accounts, but they can be fraudulent. The people running the business might have run it for 50 years. The people buying it might have never run a business before. How do you know that they're going to be successful? So I developed a system whereby I could go to anywhere in the UK and indeed Europe. I could produce reports on the businesses as they were run by the present owners, the new owners' proposals. The people borrowing money might have 5 businesses. They might have a farm in Scotland. They might have a piece of land in Essex that they're going to convert into a golf course. They might have a nursing home in Cornwall. All these things had to be looked at, valued, financial projections, the accounts analysed, all the risk factors, cash flow forecasts, everything. And they had to be with the bank within 7 working days of the telephone instruction. Hundreds and hundreds of millions of pounds were lent and borrowed on these businesses. And I can honestly say to you, I never got one call from a purchaser or a bank to say, I'm going to sue you, you got it wrong. We then had the collapse of lending in the UK to businesses, and that business stopped in terms of its growth. But then I was called in to try and rescue businesses that were not producing enough profits to pay back the bank. And if the bank sold the business, they'd have to write off a load of money. So still the principles were there. But you'll find this in business. The obstacles there are people with self-interest. The finance broker who wants the bank to lend money to the purchaser, to the borrower, because the finance broker wants the commission. He or she doesn't care if the business goes down the pan, the bank loses money, and the people lose their whole savings they put into the business. So, but I wouldn't